And welcome to another episode of the Admin and Tom and the Crawford Podcasting Network, delving into Michigan and Michigan State, what they did the previous Saturday and the gridiron. Both teams are 4-0. Both teams totally sucked in the second half. It was literally duplication. What happened at 3:30 in Ann Arbor at the corner of Stadium and Main? Same thing happened on Shaw Lane at Michigan State for the 7 o'clock tilt. Both teams survive and advance. I guess that's all that matters. No such thing as an ugly win. We'll start with your team first. Yeah, I'll just go with your team first because you're the you be the centerpiece of the Admin and Tom. And you had to be, this metric blows me away when you really think of it. So the score at halftime was what, tied? 13-13? What was it?
I was only there. You would think I would know. I think State had a lead. We had a lead.
13-10, whatever.
Yeah.
If you had said you weren't going to get a first down in the second half with whether it was tied or a little lead, whatever. I mean, you first of all, you wouldn't have believed it. Number one. And secondly, you'd have said, "Oh God, this is going to be horrible." But they still managed to win. I don't know schematically what Nebraska was doing on that punt. I
can tell you.
2 men are back. I know Jalen Naylor went like this, I guess, and that faked him out. But when you don't have a gunner on the left side, my God, you had that was unbelievable. Steve Adler. Adler's got it to 40. He's gone. Goodbye, Steve Adler. Adler could have scored on that.
Maybe. What also helped on that was the Nebraska punter was supposed to kick it to his left.
Yeah.
No, correction. He was supposed to kick it to his right.
Yeah.
Where Jalen Naylor was. Yeah. So when Jalen Naylor called for the fair catch, the kick team all thought the ball was going.
I know. You could see the optics of it. I agree with you. I've never seen a play like that in my entire life. First time Michigan State's returned one a punt in a long, long time. Anyway, your overall thought.
10 years. Yeah.
10 years. What do you think?
This is how I kind of talk about it. You know how sometimes you win games in non-obvious ways? Like this is all I could think about. Remember when you played Monopoly as a kid? Now, the standard way to win, you buy Boardwalk and Park Place and
go for the jugular. Yeah.
Michigan State bought the railroads and the utilities. And Nebraska kept landing on Electric Avenue and Reading Railroad. And it burned them. And we kept skipping over Boardwalk and Park Place somehow. And the green properties, right? Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and those ones.
Yes, those yellow properties.
Yeah. Or in a more modern game, Settlers of Catan, instead of building, I don't know if you know that game, instead of building cities, we were buying development cards and backdooring our way into a win. So
backdoor.
Way. Yeah.
It's funny, and we'll talk the same thing about Michigan with Rutgers defense given a template to stop Michigan's running game. Same thing with the Huskers. But put 8 or 9 in the box and put a lot of pressure on Peyton Thorne. And he looked disheveled in that second half.
I don't know if he had happy feet, if he was rattled, if he was hurt. That's kind of the question right now, because that second half he did not look good. He missed some. There were some receivers open that could have kept the chains moving, and he just flat out missed them. So I'm hoping it's just a 1-game thing, and because he looked good other than this. But I'm telling you right now, Nebraska is the real deal on defense.
Oh, look what they did to Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was as if they knew what play was coming at every play. I'm like, was Michigan State tipping their play somehow? Do they have something, a tell? I don't know. But they knew exactly what we were doing on every play. And, you guys had, 4 3-and-outs in the second half? And Michigan
State 3-and-outs with a 20-3 lead. You get the second half kickoff, you get 4 straight 3-and-outs. So the defense wears down. When you do 3-and-outs, you're killing your defense. You're absolutely killing them. Yeah. They barely have a time to get liquidated. Get hydrated rather, not liquidated.
In the second half, Nebraska had more than 3 times the number of offensive plays as Michigan State. Obviously, Michigan State, if I can do the simple math, 5 possessions, 3 and out. That's 15 plays.
Yeah.
Nebraska had like 48, I think. So our defense, Michigan State's defense, listen, Adrian Martinez is a real headache. You guys are going to have your hands full, and you've seen him before, of course.
Oh, he's only been there 27 years. Yeah, he's good. He's really good.
He is really good when he runs, and he had some good throws too. But I'm telling you, our Michigan State's defense stepped up when they needed to and played a heck of a game. You know, Panashuk was named National Defensive Player of the Week from was it PFF, Pro Football Focus, called him Defensive Player of the Week national.
He's having a good year. Yeah.
So he stepped up when Beasley went down, which is a big blow to our team.
That is a big loss.
Yeah, because he is a good player. So
yeah. You know, it's ironic. You know, it's ironic, Stevie. You know, Michigan State, their struggles against Nebraska tells Michigan, man, we got to go to Nebraska. That's going to be tough. And Michigan struggles at home with Rutgers. Michigan State's got to go to Rutgers. Oh my God, we got a battle coming up. I mean, it's crazy when you look at it in different angles. These two games and how they're entwined with the two rivals.
Both warning signs for both of our teams. But I'm telling you, if your current offense goes into Lincoln, Nebraska, and if Scott Frost can keep that team and not lose them with these heartbreaking losses, Michigan's going to lose that game.
Well, absolutely. I mean, my theory is we'll get to Michigan in a little bit here, but if Michigan beats Nebraska or beats Wisconsin, they're going to lose to Nebraska. I don't see a sweep. I don't see them getting swept, but I see a split. I mean, and everybody in the Big Ten. Everybody in the Big Ten is pretty kind of little bit above average. Yep. Maybe Northwestern is pretty bad, and Minnesota is not certainly helping the credibility of the Big Ten. They barely beat Miami of Ohio, and then they got beat at home by Bowling Green.
And they
Bowling Green, not even a favorite in the MAC, mind
right?
You.
Not a good Bowling Green team, because sometimes you can play a good MAC team, and you expect to struggle. That's not a good team.
No. So, and I was, after what Minnesota did at Colorado, I'm thinking, wow, maybe Minnesota could sneak in on the West. You never know. It's crazy. This is why when you look at the top 25, Stevie, the preseason poll of the teams that were in the top 25, all 25 of those original ones have at least one loss. And we're here at week 4. Think about that for a second.
And how many have 2 losses? There's a ton of them, more than ever before have 2 losses.
So that means that's why we talked about this. Don't do any freaking rankings or any of that bullshit until mid-October. Right. I've been talking to people about this for 20 years. All the people are agreeing the same thing. It's not, but I guess it's interest. And both our Michigan ranked 14th is a joke. I mean, they had you shouldn't be ranked until you win a road game, and that's where I'm at with Michigan. But back to Michigan State briefly, Western Kentucky. Let me tell you something about Western Kentucky. They throw the ball, so you will be entertained. And they had Indiana dead to rights down there.
Yep.
It was a home game. I mean, Indiana agreed to go play a group of 5 on the road. It's a little strange, but that's Indiana. Why would you do that? But that's going to be interesting. A homecoming game with a non-conference. Some of this stuff doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and the fact that it's a 7:30 kick, like what?
Yeah,
Western Kentucky. It's just so weird. But I want to go back a little bit to Nebraska too. The fact that Kenneth Walker couldn't find any daylight anywhere was shocking. Yeah. And the way Nebraska's defensive line manhandled Michigan State's offensive line was really concerning. Now, again, I'm telling you, Nebraska has a really good defensive line.
No, that's their strength.
But the fact that until overtime, when he had that 23-yard scamper right out of the gate, right, which was a different type of play. It was the
Wildcat, yeah.
And it was a wait and see what happens, and then as opposed to just immediately get the ball and try to find a hole, which that wasn't there all day. So that was pretty concerning. But another guy I want to bring up is our punter, Bryce Behringer.
Yeah.
He is second in the nation in punt average. He averaged almost 60 yards a punt. He might have been the MVP in this game. He was every punt was like Ray Guy, like far and super high, bringing rain. That guy is a weapon, and I'm so glad he's wearing the green and white because he is awesome.
Well, that's you're going to need that because if this offense stymies here, but I think they'll get well again. Western Kentucky does not have a good defense, so Michigan State's offense will be remedied, to say the least.
Yeah, and again, I'm not putting a victory yet because I realize they played some teams tough, but the fact that Michigan State's 4-0 and could, unless they really stub their toe, should be 5-0. Almost unheard of at the start of the season. Unheard of. I mean, the line in Vegas was what, 4 wins, 4.5?
Yeah.
For the season.
Yeah. No, I get it. Anyway, let's switch over to my school's game. We're 23 at halftime. By the way, I just forgot. I mean, I had all these nice little stats on our scroll for the Wolverines, and I turned the ball over. I didn't save it, so I'll have to go without the Michigan stats. I'll just have to voice it to you, which I can do.
You don't want all the McNamara incompletions on the stat?
The 4 3-and-outs. Hey, I will say that they're playing Wisconsin at 11 o'clock. We've both been to Madison and Camp Randall. I think the fact people say, "Hey, it's 11 o'clock kick," people won't be as drunk. Bullshit. They start drinking at 5. Okay.
Yeah, in Wisconsin, they'll adjust.
They'll adjust their game to kickoff. But anyway, Michigan's got the 20-3 lead at halftime. And, actually the passing game was going pretty good.
No worries at halftime, right?
Not really. I mean, there was a missed opportunity right before half to make it 24-3. And when Cade McNamara had Eric All wide open in the south end zone, southwest corner, could have been a touchdown, overthrew him, and it was just he had separation. Things like that, you can't do that. And then on their first possession, the 3-and-outs, the 4 3-and-outs, and then all of a sudden, Michigan's defense fatigues. We got that element, and Blake Corum is pretty much shut down. Once again, Michigan's running game was held to 116 yards, not the 350 they had been averaging.
Right.
So, but it's all about competition. So once again, I'm staying in the moment in evaluating this team. The post game, so I go after the game to Harbaugh's presser and the players, and then I come out and I go to this tailgate with some fraternity brothers. He's got one right next to Chrysler and the stadium. He's a doctor; he can afford it.
Oh yeah, money.
And so we're about 8 or 10 of us are breaking this thing down. I swear to God, Stevie, we're looking at each other. I don't think we're going to win another game. I mean, it's like,
I love the overreaction because it happens everywhere.
That's what Michigan people do. We overreact, and we're negative. We've been doing it for 5 decades.
Well,
so
when you win, you guys overreact on that way. And when you win impressively, you guys are going to win the national title, and you're going to have the Heisman winner. And when you struggle, oh my God, we're never going to win
that way. It used to be that way because at the last tailgate, we kept saying, "Remember 2009?" Albeit Rich Rodriguez was coaching. Michigan beat Notre Dame and a bunch of MAC schools, and they were 4-0, and they were ranked in the top 20, maybe low teens, whatever. And they went to Michigan State, losing overtime. You remember that game?
Larry Caper game?
Yeah, the Larry Caper game. And then their season went and it fizzled, crashed and burned. So I'm like I said, staying in the moment. It's like in the NBA, they say in the NBA finals, they say, or the playoffs, it's not a series until the road team wins. Okay.
Right.
For me, this Michigan team is not good until they win a road game. I can't even say they're good because when you're home, other than Ohio State, you're supposed to win the damn game. Okay. Right. You're supposed to win. And so I have always been guarded until they go to Madison. Now, Wisconsin was up 13-10, and or it was tied or whatever, and then all of a sudden Notre Dame gets the kickoff return, and all hell breaks loose, and
because it was close until the fourth.
Oh my God! So Wisconsin can be pissed off. Michigan should be pissed off too.
Wisconsin's offense is so bad.
They're prehistoric.
I mean, so bad. Who's a quarterback? Back cone. Graham Mertz.
Fred Mertz. Fred Mertz is a great grandson.
Yeah, he is so bad. But you guys haven't won in Madison in 1,000 years, right?
2001.
Yeah,
John Navarre's junior or sophomore year. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we're talking that far, there's a bit of a.
They've only played 5 games there, but still, I mean, that's still that. They haven't won there, and the last 2 times they've been buried. They got buried there 2 years ago. They had the payback in front of that infamous game on Saturday night at ABC in front of no fans, and they couldn't set the edge. And Wisconsin was up, 49-11, whatever the score was. Mm-hmm. It was an embarrassment.
Yeah.
And next 2 weeks are going to be telling. Huge.
Here's my question to you. Do you guys have a quarterback controversy in Ann Arbor?
Well, if you ask the fans, it is, yeah, because it's like the favorite quarterback whoever is the backup quarterback is a favorite quarterback,
right?
But Cade McNamara, when you watch him, and I know he's done great in practice and everything like that, and he's a good leader and all that. Boy, his feet get happy, his mechanics, and he looks a little skittish, and there were some read options that he just could have taken the ball and he could have got a first down. JJ McCarthy, he can spin that ball, man. I'm telling you what, he can spin it. He's a legitimate 5-star, but he's not going to get that opportunity, Stevie, until Michigan loses. This is how Jim Harbaugh and a lot of coaches operate.
It sounds like to me you want the change. I can tell by your tone how you're describing McCarthy. You want to change.
I wanted to change at the start of the season. I predicted at the start of the season, Cade McNamara was going to start the season just like B.J. Dickey did in 1979, and Johnny Wangler took over. And there have been other scenarios like that as well. Mm-hmm. And then the freshman was going to take over. And I still think that's going to happen because I still see Michigan, as I'm sitting today, in the range of an 8-4, 9-3 team as we're sitting today.
What's it going to take this upcoming week for Harbaugh to pull the plug and go with the backup? If you're down at halftime, let's say Wisconsin miraculously scores 17 points at the half and their defense holds you to 3 and McNamara is just not hitting people. You go with the change at halftime. Is he going to pull the plug?
I think you'd have to. That's a good question. I think he would have to turn. I mean, Michigan has not had a turnover all year. Yeah. I'm knocking on wood right now. They have not turned.
Now they're going to have 4. Thank you very much.
But they don't turn other people over. They got Rutgers to get their first turnover. That was a fumble, and they got their first pick of in eons last week. Jamon Green. And I'm against NIU. I'm thinking that I'm not feeling the vibe on this game. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be one of those 13-9 games like Purdue and Illinois this past weekend. I think it's going to be one of those games.
Yeah, Mertz is a turnover machine, so you're going to.
Well, yeah, but that can get cleaned up. I mean, Michigan doesn't turn people over. But they don't turn it over as it is.
This weekend, you're going to see some. But I'm just saying, you may be forced to make the quarterback change if it stalls out yet again.
Well, I think that would be great. It's like you can't do what, do you put them in a series and then you fall into that Drew Henson, Tom Brady thing, right. Which was actually more scripted. But, I mean, I've seen some schools use 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, it can be done.
I mean, it's possible. And I'll tell you what, J.J. McCarthy must not be flawless in practice because it's just like A.J. Henning was not returning punts. And so they put Johnny Colasar's kid, Cade, in there to return punts. for 2 games after Ronnie Bell got hurt because obviously AJ Henning was dropping punts in practice. That's just obvious when he's not back there because he's a true talent.
Right. The
You
question
got
is, what are we as fans not seeing that's keeping that person
exactly, and that's what we don't. So when we're at the tailgates and doing doing the 5th quarter stuff, where it just, good Lord, it was like a funeral, man.
Well, it was a funeral in East Lansing too in the second half. It was just, everyone to get on their feet every third down play, and when Nebraska had the ball, and every time they would seem like they would convert it, and everyone just slumped back down in your seat. And I'll tell you one other thing that added to the misery was the scoreboard operator. Have you heard about this?
No. What? Tell me. Enlighten me.
This sounds like what I'm going to tell you. Is going to sound like I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. The scoreboard operator in East Lansing, the down and distance was wrong. I would estimate 70% of the time.
Oh my God!
It would be 2nd and 6, and the scoreboard would read 3rd and 16. It would be 3rd and 1, and the scoreboard would read 1st and 5. All game long. It was the weirdest. I'm like, and so
What's going on?
I read afterwards that, and I don't know if it's true or not, that Michigan State, not 1 but 2 of their regular scoreboard operators were out with either COVID or COVID exposure or something like that. So I'm like, what did they do? Did they just pick someone off campus? And
Come on, man. You got 50,000 freaking students who'd love to have a nice little student internship.
Yeah.
And
but it was
a scoreboard operator.
It was as if they picked someone who had never seen a game of football before. And they're like, oh, it'll be fine. Just get up there. I'm telling you, at least 70, 75, 80% of the time, the down and distance was wrong. So not only were we pissed off watching the game, we're like, can they get the friggin' scoreboard right?
Maybe Sparty Bob returned, after that 2001 infamous incident at Spartan Stadium, and he was a little rusty.
You mean Smoker to duck it?
Yeah. Okay. So living in the moment, staying in real time, because I just said I'm hovering between 8-4 and 9-3 for Michigan as we're sitting right now, and I'm just going to update it. Because I think there's a split coming up. I think there's a loss at Penn State. I think Ohio State's a toss-up. Going to find out more about Ohio State when they play Rutgers.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. But where are you at with Michigan State, record-wise?
There's a message board poll going around. Would you accept 8-4 right now at Michigan State?
Yeah, sign the contract. Let's get
Would you sign it? 8-4.
Yep. Would you do it?
No.
Wow. How about 9-3?
9-3. I would sign 9.
Are there any stipulations in that contract though that were on October 30th? A particular team has to win.
Well, yeah, that of course that's part of it. 9-3 win over you guys. I would take it. Because again, we could lose to Rutgers. I'm not suggesting 8-4 is a lock. We could still go 7-5. I understand that. We got a tough schedule. Michigan State does. But I'm saying I would be willing, if I was a betting man, I would bet more on 9-3 than 7-5 right now. And I think you just gotta.
I agree with that.
You're a team that finds a way to win, and I know it's a bit cliche.
No, it's true. No, it's true.
But if your team starts believing, you get into the psychology of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because Michigan State had no business pulling that game out. No business. The way they played second half, and they found a way. So who am I to not believe in Mel Tucker moving forward? As far as, I'm not suggesting he's going to win them all. Of course not. But I think 9-3 is doable.
Well,
right now.
First of all, Michigan is a young team. Michigan State is a large new to the program team. Okay. Yeah. So both of them have situations where they're going to get better as the season goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't think players get better all the time in college football. Every year guys improve.
You see offensive lines can turn around in the season.
You have position groups that get more effective as the season goes on.
Right.
As long as they stay injury free. Another knock on wood there. But so you know what? You get a break from the Big Ten. get your offense healthy against Western Kentucky, although do watch out. That's one group of 5 I would not want to play because you don't get credit for it.
I'm not thrilled with the timing of it. I'm not thrilled with the kick time. It's just one of those games. I mean, it's not even a trap game. It's what the hell are we doing?
It's an annoying, it's a nagging annoyance game. It's homecoming.
You know what it reminds you of? It reminds you of, did you read Missouri had to play Boston College, and the Missouri coach was complaining about, why do we have to play Boston College? It's not a big marquee game. We don't beat them. And then what happened? Boston College went out and drilled them.
It's all Boston College is almost in the top 25.
Yeah,
they're 4-0. This is like, and Wake Forest is 4-0. You just don't know. I mean, I swear to God, COVID just shook up college football. Other than your standard suspects, Alabama, Georgia, you take those 2 giants out of there, those 2 juggernauts. Everybody else is pretty pedestrian.
Yeah. It's like they talk about. It's like when you hear they're talking at super seniors and transfers. You don't really know. So just go out and play the game and see what happens. So Michigan. Hey, I tell you what, if Mel Tucker goes 9-3, he wins National Coach of the Year. Agree? Because people at Michigan State winning 2 games this year.
Depends upon who he beats. If he gets some marquee wins along the way.
Well, you're going to have to if you get to 9-3. You're going to have to knock either.
Well, they got 0 in the right column right now. I mean,
Miami's pretty good. Miami's a good quality win.
I mean, the Wake Forest. What if Wake Forest runs the table? I mean, there's a lot of coaches out there. You never know.
Yeah,
you never know. But anyway, next week we homecoming. You gonna go to the parade? Or are you doing any of that stuff or
no,
Friday night or not?
No. In fact, I'm even hesitating. I'm thinking maybe I need a break. From attending games.
A break? Talk about a break. I'm going to 4 straight freaking Michigan games. Finally, we get a break. We had 4 home games in September, 1 in October, 1 home game in October, 2 in November. And I like it. I want them to go on the road. I want to be able to stay at home and watch them and see where they're really find out, how the bologna's made on this team.
Right. But you would admit as a fan, the best month to have a lot of home games is October. That's the best.
Yeah, September's too hot.
That's when it feels like college football.
And Michigan's got 1.
Well, that's the price you pay for not leaving Ann Arbor for 100 years. And
the Rutgers Indiana thing. I think the Indiana thing. I think you're going to beat Indiana because you're more physically tough than Indiana. But the Rutgers game.
Rutgers could be.
You'll find out more about the Rutgers when they play Ohio State.
Right.
Yep. So. Okay, Stevie, great job as always on the Ad Man and Tom on the Crawford Podcasting Network. Hey, halfway or more than halfway to a pair of 7-0s playing on October 30th. Each have a bye week. 4 down, 3 to go.
Quick predictions.
Go ahead.
Sparty wins. More of a high-scoring game than we probably like. Let's call it 38-24, somewhere in that range.
Okay, that's good. I'll throw in 45-21 Michigan State.
Okay. So we both respect Western Kentucky's offense.
Yeah.
Not their defense.
Yeah.
And the big game, boy, I want to go Wisconsin. I think you guys are going to make that quarterback change, and I think it's going to spark something.
Yeah.
But I gotta go. I gotta go whiskey.
He's betting with his heart, folks.
24-21 whiskey.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go. I think Michigan's gonna beat Wisconsin, lose to Nebraska. I'm gonna go 20-14 Michigan.
Okay, slugfest.
Yeah. So no one scores 21 points. Or how many do you have? What's your score?
24-21.
Okay, so relatively low scoring.
Maybe a defensive touchdown in there or a punt return or something for Wisconsin because God knows our offense can't put 24 on the board.
Yeah. That's a 12 o'clock kick on FS1, I believe, or I think it's FS1. Whatever. It's on Fox, maybe. Michigan State, BTN at 7:30. Until next time, Stevie. Great job, Crawford Podcasting Network, the Ad Man and Tom, Michigan State rivalry. We'll talk to you next week.
Go Green, Tommy. We'll see you then.